Chop meat, Louis. This pod will be called the Josh is really tired pod.
Yo.
Yo. Is it working?
Yeah, we're good.
We're on. We're live in 5. Time to pop that top, son. Pop it.
The middle of summer.
Pow.
If you're not popping tops, what are you doing? A lot of different kind of tops you could pop.
That last pow was for the earbud listeners. Their ears are ringing now.
Right in the kisser.
It's a Catalina wine mixer.
You could pop a Jeep top.
Ah!
You could pop a Keystone top.
Yeah.
You could pop a.
If you know, you know, bro.
Yeah. You ever ask a gal if she wants to go for a topless ride in your Jeep?
I've never owned a Jeep, so it's not a question I could ask. I'm willing to bet you probably did, though.
Yeah. Can I tell you about my dream car?
Dream cars. Let's go.
This dream car was one that has some nostalgia to it. So in high school, you all have your first shitty rig or whatever.
Sure.
My first shitty rig was actually a 2-wheel drive Suburban. I don't know what my dad was thinking.
That's so funny. I had a 77 GMC Jimmy. Just a little shorter version. 4-wheel drive, though. But
yeah, which is smart. And I
first
was
rig
in the
I
middle
bought.
of the sticks, and like it had poor tires, 2-wheel drive. I slid it into a snowbank, for sure. But anyway, one of my friends had a Geo Tracker, like a 1990 Geo Tracker with like 150,000 miles on it. And, we were just kids and we go rednecking in the woods, and that thing was awesome. Like it would literally go just about anywhere. And I know that because all of our friends had like big jacked up trucks and shit.
Yeah.
Like,
so they'd go anywhere.
Yeah, they would go anywhere, and we would go everywhere. And that was kind of the beauty of where I lived. Was like out my backyard or back door, we could go dirt trails to almost anywhere and get your truck stuck wherever you wanted if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
So we would go like rednecking with these people, and they would, like you get to something and, maybe somebody gets stuck or whatever.
Yeah.
And if my friend couldn't make it through in his tracker, which he often could, this tracker wasn't souped up. It just had 4-wheel drive and maybe middle of the road tires. Then we would go around it. And this happened over and over again. And like every time we were with somebody, this tracker would either go through it or around it, and we were never getting stuck.
Yeah, those things would go anywhere.
They literally go anywhere. And the short wheelbase is kind of the magic sauce because, your tires are always on something.
Yeah.
And it has enough clearance that like you can still go over the things that you wouldn't think you could. Now, I want one. But it don't necessarily have to be a tracker. It could be like a Samurai.
I actually knew that. You told me that once.
Yeah.
I remember.
It could be like a Samurai or a tracker, or I think there's another model of that vehicle. But like, I just think it'd be so cool. And it's basically like having a side-by-side that you can drive on the road. Mm-hmm. And literally, if you have a little winch or something, or maybe like a little come-along with you, like you can basically go anywhere. So you could fit 2 guys, 2 backpacks, and an elk, and like,
No, I mean, it's an ideal rig.
Yeah.
Especially if you want like a project or something to build and do.
Yeah.
Right?
It'd be super fun.
Yeah, I totally get that. Did you want to know my dream?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have it.
You have it?
Yeah. I wanted the first body style of the Toyota pickup that actually had a real extended cab, not a baby little thing that was basically your back seat space behind it. Mm-hmm. So that was I think they made that body style in 88 or 89 or somewhere around there. And I wanted a big old lifted, jacked up, straight axle.
Oh, that's the white camo one.
Yeah. That's actually, ironically, it was it's the truck I always wanted, and put a 4-cylinder Cummins in it. And it's got like an 8-inch lift and 37-inch tires and re-geared and all that jazz, and go anywhere, do anything.
You ever get it stuck?
No.
And if you did
I
get
don't
it
think
stuck,
you could.
do you have a winch on it?
Yeah, I got a
Yeah.
winch on it.
Yeah.
Weld kit bumper, because nobody makes a welded steel bumper for those things. They're all like prefabs that you weld together. And I want to say Jake the Webb welded it. Did he weld that together for me? I think he did.
I think he did too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he welded that together for me. And yeah, the freaking thing was only like, the kit was like $400. And I don't remember how much I paid Jake to do it, but yeah, it's it took a really long time to get the cooling worked out, because it's like
Right.
couldn't,
because it's running pretty warm.
it would run warm because he couldn't have enough surface area for radiator.
It's not a
with
diesel,
that.
is it?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's got a 2.8 liter Cummins 4-cylinder diesel in it, baby. Got a 40-gallon fuel cell, and Joel and Bodie were drooling all over that fucking thing.
Were they?
This last weekend, and Joel's like, "You have to sell me that." I'm like, no, man. I guess I know. I understand it's been sitting there. It hasn't ran in over a year. It's just sitting there. But I promise, if I do sell it, I will call you first. That's all I can say. They're very large Toyota nuts. They love the Yodas.
Yeah, and it really helps to have something you can take in the woods and not worry about scratching.
Technically, I have two.
Yeah.
I have my two favorites. I have that, and originally I wanted like a 69 Camaro, but the more time's gone on.
I have a story about one of those.
The more time's gone on, I'd actually rather have like a 69 Charger.
Yeah.
Yeah, but modernized. I don't want an old clunkery, unreliably thing. Put a modern motor, modern transmission, all that. That would be cool.
Yeah.
They just don't make cars they try to make cars look like that today, and they still can't quite pull it off.
Yeah, it's crazy how like those old body lines look so good.
Yeah, it was drugs.
And now that I
it was. If you look at like psychedelics and marijuana and LSD and shrooms and whatnot, when that was all really prevalent, because it hadn't been Schedule 1'd yet, like people were using it a lot. That's when all those really cool body styles, body lines and whatnot, the rigs, and then they turn all weird and boxy when those all get Scheduled 1 and everybody starts doing blow.
Yeah, I believe that could have some influence for sure, but
it changed when they look at when they Schedule 1'd all that stuff. The designs of everything just look totally different.
So I'm actually supposed to be the owner of, I think you could say it's definitely, the title's not in my name, but I'm supposed to be the owner of a 67 Camaro.
I think you told me this story before.
Yeah. A 67 Camaro with a rebuilt 396. It's a really beautiful car. When I was maybe 13, it blew a rod.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't get repaired after that. And now when I talk about it with my dad, he's always like, well, I'll send it out when you have space. And so who knows if it'll actually happen, you know?
Interesting.
It's been in the family for a long time, and I think it's probably one of those things that's probably he thought he wanted to pass on, and probably hard to let go.
I got a guy that can do work for you on that if you get it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, if I get it.
My buddy Travis is real fair on price, and he rebuilt my my motor and my Ram when that chunk of the globe.
So as it sits right now, my dad bought a new crate engine he's supposed to swap into it, and then it's still supposed to make its way out here, but I don't know. I don't have my hopes too high that it will. But if it ever did, it's a beautiful rig, and I just remember being a young kid, and it's a 4-speed, and when you would switch gears, it would peel rubber.
Of course,
like
coolest thing ever.
Yeah, without even like giving it the juice. Like it literally just had so much grab. It's, you know. Yeah. Pretty cool. You mentioned Joel and Bodie being here. You're coming off a pretty big send of a weekend.
Yeah.
Talk about that. What do you have going on?
If I seem exhausted or less enthusiastic, that would be why, dude. Yeah. Well, I haven't had a day off since prior weekend or what have you, and I worked. I was going 18 hours a day pretty easily for that whole weekend. So we had the first inaugural elk immersion experience out here. 45 people or participants. Got 3 days, which they could arrive the day before and camp here if they wanted, which I think all but like 2 or 3 people did. I think there was only 2 people that were staying.
That makes the experience pretty cool to be able to do that.
Yeah, that was a big deal. And that was part of, I was kind of adamant about that. I was like, you need to let these people camp and hang out with each other when they're done for the days. And that's a big deal.
It makes it.
They make friends.
Yeah.
They make like good, long, like-minded people friends. And that's what these groups always have. And anytime I ever did, any of Dan's elk-shaped camps, it was a similar thing. It was they bonded and created friendships, but they weren't staying in the same place. Like you need to be able to stay here. And I have a field out in front of my house that I pulled out the old Kubota and big old tractor and mowed it all down twice and did a little weed eat and made sure there was enough room for everybody to be. More than enough. It's probably double the room I needed. I wasn't sure how it was going to go, but that went well. And we had rotating days where one day was with me with 15 people, and I had ordered everybody strings from Gas, and we rebuilt everybody's bow, and they did it. which was the whole point of it. And they were in groups of 3, so they actually would work through the task 3 times. Because it seems like when you do it 3 times, you'll remember most of what you did.
It takes a rep or 2 or however many it takes. For me, for sure. The first time I do it could almost just fly over my head.
Yeah, so we'd slowly go through the first person in the group, get all the way through it. A lot of times we were starting at like close to 9 by the time we did a little morning event thing and then started. And from 9 till noon, because we were eating lunch at noon, was the first bow. And then the next 2 took half as long typically. Because after I got through the first bow of everybody, it's like, all right, go at your own pace, raise your hand whenever you need help. And I just kept working through the groups. And there was almost always somebody that needed help. Did
the pacing of it flow okay?
Did the what? Sorry?
The pacing of it flow okay?
Yeah, actually. And I just kind of guessed at what it was going to take and how long it was going to take.
Right, because you never know until you actually...
No. I mean, I know how long it takes to build a bow, and I know how long it takes a new person to build a bow, typically. Because I did that with it was part of why I did my giveaways and said, you need to come here and build it. I wanted to know how long it took the average person who had never done it before to build a bow. How many hours did it take? 2 hours, 3 hours? And it seemed like about 3 on average, 2 to 3, somewhere in there. But once you get through it, somebody in the group really grasped what was going on for sure. Everybody caught and remembered certain parts of it. It was a team thing. It wasn't like, okay, my bow's done, I can go sit down. It's like, no, you stay here with your teammates and keep working through it. And one guy's holding parts while the other guy's doing stuff. It went really great. And once again, it was a kind of a team bonding, team building experience as well. They helped each other, which was cool. And that went really well, even though we broke a record for the hottest day in Spokane for that day ever at 107 or 108 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And it was all 3 days were like high 90s, low hundreds, high hundreds. It's like so bad. And I'm fortunate we have a pool right here, but I didn't go in it until the evening ever. I didn't have time. Like I was running hard, and I'm still not recovered. I was actually a little concerned today about potting and looking enthusiastic because I feel really tired. Like I will sleep this weekend, and I will sleep long this weekend.
Yeah, those things are big energy expenditures because it's no downtime, right?
There's zero downtime, and you're always talking to people.
You're always engaged.
You're always engaged. There's no break in it, which is, I mean, I really enjoy it when I'm doing it. Like I get a lot out of it. I feel like the people learn a lot, which is huge. So I really enjoy it. I just don't realize what it's taking out of me until it's over with.
Yeah.
Although the second night of 3, I couldn't stay up and hang out and chat with people at the house because I had all the instructors staying here too, other than Dan. Dan moved into his house around the corner.
Yeah.
So he was in his double wide just watching us down here.
Dan's like a driver and a 6-iron away from here.
He is, pretty much. So, but yeah, it was a great experience. I would say we're going to absolutely do this again. We don't know when we're going to accept registrations. We're hoping to do several next year, depending on what we can pull off and schedules, etc. Everybody seems in for that was involved. Everybody really liked it, and it seemed like all the campers really liked it. Got a lot of great feedback, a lot of well worth the money. Honestly, it wasn't enough for what you were providing.
Do you think it was the right group size?
I do. I think. Well, so Joel and I talked about it before. So this all came about after the last camp that I helped Dan with that Joel was in before we did one here. Was when I started asking Joel questions because I would get frustrated that I really don't feel like I could really help anybody. Like I'd talk to him, I'd give him knowledge, I'd show him stuff, but I wasn't getting enough time to do anything, to really make a difference, to really teach him something, give him something to take away. And neither did Joel. Like I called him and I was like, hey, your ideal group size, your ideal time, how much, how many people, for how long? It's like 8 hours, 15 people. And I had that number in my head before I called him. So I was like, I think I can really, if I have the gear, I think I can manage 15 people over 8 hours to completely rebuild their bows, put them back together, tune them, tune them, and get them sighted back in. And that's ironically what it ended up being. Well, he was really happy with it. I was really happy with it. And Dan was really happy with everything and how it went. Even though...
Friends, classmates, colleagues, if you want to support the pod, firstly, leave it a review or subscribe wherever you're listening. That stuff helps more than you know. Check out podiumarcher.com. That's Josh's dealership for archery stuff, and I have a discount code with him. It's just Tim C. Help support what we do, and we have a discount code with Jocko Fuel. We like the energy drinks. They're good, clean energy. It doesn't have a ton of caffeine, and their supplements are solid too. So all that stuff will always be linked right down below in the description, and we'll get right back to the pod.
God, what day was it? I think it was Thursday. The AC unit on the west side of our building was covered with ice. So I had to turn it off. But we have 2 units, so we're like, it's okay. We got 2. It's gonna get warm in here, but no one's gonna die. Right? Well, and I call the HVAC company that installed it. It was a friend of mine's business, and they had somebody out there the next day, and I was in the middle of class, so nobody told me they were there. And he looked at the machine that was running, not the one that wasn't. So it wasn't. He didn't even look at the one that was broken, and said the air filter was too dirty, and that's part of why it's running hot, and blah blah blah, and cleaned it out and left. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. He didn't even look at the right freaking one. And then the next day, the electrical in it fries. So both of them are down. Yeah. On the hottest day of the year.
That's crazy. That's how
it goes. When we
though.
have 45 people here plus customers, because we're still open, right? So that Saturday, it got pretty warm in that building. Fortunately, we pulled an audible and switched our start time to 2 hours early, and kind of reorganized the indoor stuff, which that was the hottest days, and it was a good thing too, because everybody could go home Sunday afternoon, and they was able to go home like 2 hours earlier.
Yeah,
most of them were driving.
Sunday,
right?
get them done early, get them out early. For
yeah,
sure.
I mean, but the issue for me, I was already exhausted. Now I had to get up another hour and a half earlier to do it. Like, whew, man, it took a lot out of me.
What was the remedy for the AC? Did you get new units or?
He came back Monday, and it was so. We were pretty sure it was just low on refrigerant and it had a leak somewhere.
That's good.
And on that one, and he found where he thought the leak was coming from, refilled it, and it's been running fine ever since. But that's the one we don't usually use very much because it kind of plumbs in the upstairs, and it's like you leave it off most of the year and it doesn't do anything. And then but the new one, he can't fix it till next Monday. Fortunately, it's cooled down. I mean, today's like the last day in the 90s, and it's supposed to be like high 70s tomorrow.
Yeah, and then
so it won't matter.
Yeah,
but he's coming back Monday to fix the fried one, hopefully. So we won't have to. Hopefully, we won't have to replace anything. We'll find out. But yeah, and that happened in the middle of all that, and that's great. What else? There was some other little thing that was a minor catastrophe.
Did you guys?
Okay.
Not to distract you, but did you guys run into any real tuning problems with any rigs? Any real problem? Children?
There was one in every class that was either a lot of work or took them a long time. In every group of 15. Ironically, on the last day, I had a bow that wouldn't tune, and he was in the last group on the last day. So it was making everything run long. And the poor guy he didn't do anything wrong. He built it all right. Everything lined up right, tuned right, timed right, everything, and getting a freaking knock high tear that big or low tear. His rest wasn't falling.
When you said that,
it was malfunction.
That was what I thought.
Which, when you get a big tear, your rest isn't working right. Period. And so I asked him. I was like, "Hey, if I go run down to the shop and grab an arrow rest, are you willing to pay for it? Because I don't think your rest works. If I put it on, it does nothing. We'll take it back off. No big deal." He's like, "Yeah, sure." So I went down and grabbed it was lefty, so I grabbed a left-handed F-wrist, put it on, made 2 adjustments, and got a hole out of it. And then his beep didn't want to stay still for some damn reason. But that was the only one that day. I did have one guy draw his bow back in the draw board because I went and grabbed draw boards from my draw boards that I'm hoping to ship in a week from the manufacturer because they don't have packaging to ship them in yet. And so I had them for the camp. And I did have one gentleman run it all the way back to check his timing and then didn't turn the drill back and gunned it.
Oh,
and snapped his loop and dry fired his bow. And that lucky sumbitch only bent a module, like nothing else broke.
So this was on a Matthews, or?
Yeah, it was on a Matthews, and just zzz, and boom, snapped his loop right off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, my fingers were in a string in another press, and I heard it, and I turned around and go, "Do you dry fire?" "Yep." Go stick it over on the steps and get it away from everybody. I'll look at it in a minute. And it didn't blow up, so fortunately, and it didn't hurt anything. I was kind of shocked.
Yeah.
Actually, it was about the least damaging dry fire I've ever seen, and it was right before lunch. They say, "Hey, we'll run down to the shop at lunch and get you another set of mods, and throw a new module on there, and you should be fine." After I looked at it, but that was, God, was that on day 2 or day 3? I think that was on day 3. Yeah, that was on day 3. Both of those were on day 3, and day 3 was my fullest group because there was a person or two each day that couldn't make it for some reason. Right. So I think I had a group of 13, a group of 14, and a group of 15. And my group of 15 was on the last day, on the hottest day, on the day they're trying to go home. But taking one person out of the group the way I do it doesn't really make it take longer or less or shorter. It's kind of the same. So, but yeah, it went really well. People had really great things to say. I'm already kind of redesigning how it's going to flow and what I want to do. Like I've got a lot of ideas, and I'll bounce them off the guys and make sure they're good with it. But we've kind of already talked about some of it, and they all seem real receptive. So we'll change this up a little bit. There's a big change I may want to do to it that I don't know if it's a good idea or not. I think it's a good idea, but I'm not positive. So the issue that we kind of agreed we had with this was that ideally you'd be going through this, getting your strings changed first, no matter what. Retuning, rebuilding your bow first.
Sure.
Before you go through and work with Joel and what have you. But the problem with that is I can't do 45 of them in a day.
Exactly.
It's not feasible. So I thought about making it, instead of people arriving on a Thursday and it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, group 1 arrives on Tuesday, group 2 arrives on Wednesday, group 3 arrives on Thursday, and they work through the sequence, but they just start here on different days. So you still get one day with everybody there and camping, hanging out, and the group would shrink as the week went on. And then my portion of it would be like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You know, Joel's would be probably Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that kind of thing. But that was my thought to it, so that way you could dictate when they would go through it and have the same flow. But it's not ideal because we really want to start it off by butchering an animal so they can actually see what that looks like. Because a lot of them haven't killed something.
It's always nice to keep the group together as much as possible.
Yeah, and that would make that difficult to do. So unless we make it a 5-day camp and fill in the other things and have their schedules be different regardless. But if it's a 5-day camp, we got to charge more for it, that kind of thing. So I don't know. I don't know what the solution is there, but
3 days is a pretty sweet spot for a time commitment too.
It is. It's just
some people are going to have travel on a little bit of each side of that too.
Yeah, it sucks from the standpoint of getting their what they're learning in order, correct? You know. So who knows? That's something I'm kind of playing with. But either way, I think we're still going to stick with the 3-day-age deal and hopefully do several of them next year. So, but don't message and call and ask where can I sign up? We'll announce when signups are, where they are, and there'll be options and opportunities. And if they fill up quick, we'll probably just open another one for another date, that kind of thing.
Were the people like kind of partying at night a little bit or no?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
some, but most of them were asleep.
A couple casual beers.
Like
probably.
I think me and the first night or the first end of day night, me and the instructors were up later than I think anybody in camp.
Yeah.
You know, but
who all came through on the instructor portion? Give everybody a quick.
Well, you had Joel and Bodie actually helped. Sometimes he went and shot, and sometimes he was helping. So Joel and Bodie, Dan, Jeff Bynum.
Oh, Bynum was here.
Bynum was here. Yeah, he stayed here, and then
and say what all these people are doing. So Joel and Bodie are helping people with
Joel's doing shot process, shot IQ stuff. Bodie was just assisting Joel with whatever they were doing. Bynum's a financial advisor, trying to get you to understand how to save money for hunting and plan it correctly because it's not a cheap endeavor. And then Jared Lyle, CEO of Hunting Fool, and Braxton. They were covering Onyx and Hunting Fool information.
Yeah, I saw Braxton. I didn't see Jared, so I didn't know if Jared ended up making it. That's cool.
Yeah, no, Jared was here the whole time. Stayed. We had a lot of good talks. We actually Jared had still not put his bow together.
That doesn't surprise me.
From last fall because they sent him a lift.
Yeah. Right,
and he had it with him, and he also is a partial owner in Graylight and Zenick, and they had to have this pamphlet for it done like the whole booklet that goes with it, done in like 3 days. And so when he wasn't doing that, he was up here staring at his computer trying to do that. And I want to say it was the second night, or the second night he was here. They didn't get in until Friday, so they didn't show up until after class had started because they were in the afternoon, so they could drive over from Missoula. He, I think we ate, and we were sitting down there, and I kept harassing him about building his bow, and he finally let me build it. So we got it built, got him all sighted in, everything tuned in, tweaked in, and it's dialed, and fixed some of his arrows up and everything. And
Is he a trigger puncher?
No, he kind of shoots like I do. I mean, he will punch one off.
Yeah.
Which when I'm hunting, I'll still punch one off. But,
yeah.
But not in general, no. I think he's
I know he generally shoots the index.
His shooting style and skills were influenced a lot by Dan Evans because he worked with him for a long time, and Dan taught him a lot about how to shoot. But yeah, Jared had lost his dad this last fall, so he finished. And anybody listening to this, there's a YouTube video on Huntin' Fool that's about that, where Jared talks about being on his hunt that I think it was Arizona for elk, that 22 years it took him to draw the tag, and he gets down there and his dad passes away, and he runs home back to salmon and then goes back to try to finish it with a little bit of time left. It is God. This hits really home for me. One, Jared's like a brother to me. I've known him a really long time. I love him like a brother. He's a really good guy, but it also hits home for me because I lost my dad 2 years prior, almost the same time. Like I was going hunting. I hadn't left yet when he passed, and Jared was just on his hunt when his dad passed. And he he talks about it and expresses some things about it, but he kind of didn't have the drive to he just hadn't shot nothing, and he thanked me and told me that it kind of reinvigorated him, which is great because that guy's a hell of a hunter. He's a hell of an archer, but he's way more of a human being. And to have him a little re-engaged was awesome to me, which I didn't expect. I didn't know he was struggling with it, but losing your dad's hard for those that haven't. I can't imagine,
yeah.
And cherish all those moments that you have because you don't know when they're going to be gone. His dad wasn't all that old. Similar to mine, just not expected, not seeing it coming or anything like that. And he was a real passionate hunter and outdoorsman, and just like that, gone, no warning. It's hard. So anyway, that I don't. You have to show me how to link it below, but it's a really good YouTube video. And it came out I think 4 days ago or 5 days ago. It came out while he was here, and I didn't get a chance to watch it until he left. Until they left. So, but it's really good. You should watch that, and you should probably subscribe to their YouTube channel because it's actually pretty darn good. I've watched a few of the videos and they do a good job.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah,
particularly. I'm sure you've watched.
Particularly with their hunting films. Yeah.
Yeah, their hunting films are really good.
Yeah,
and it very much has a personal touch to it. Very much. It's not just your cookie cutter kind of thing. Yeah. So I like what they're doing over there.
Yeah, they have a young man. Is it Brady or Brody that helps them organize that stuff on their media side? And
I thought it was Brody.
I think it's Brady.
I don't know.
I think it's Brady.
Could be Brady.
Yeah, I would say he's like got the potential to be like a rising star. Like he could, he's making some really great stuff. And 5 years from now, you might say they're making some. Yeah, he's got the potential to make really amazing things. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And yeah, which is cool. And it sounds like him and Jared are pretty good friends too. Yeah,
they've got a ton of employees over there, and it's very much a family type of thing. People care for each other a lot, and it's just it's a really great organization, really great service, but really good people, man. Just they'll find you a hunt that you didn't know existed, or a deal that you didn't know you had. I mean, we talked about 3 or 4 when he's here, and I'm like, shit, I'd do that. That's a great deal.
Yeah,
I think for an opportunity for this or that, and yeah, you'd look them up. For sure. They're a really good service.
Yeah, so we were going through all the different people that were here.
Yeah, sorry. I stopped at Jared and Braxton, which Braxton works for Jared, cool, right?
And they were also presenting for Onyx a little bit, right?
Yeah, they were presenting for Onyx in e-scouting and then talking about hunting full and what they provide. I feel like that's everybody. I said Joel and Bodie, Bynum, those guys.
Dan, obviously.
Dan, my Swarovski rep came by on Friday and, showed stuff to people when they were here. And Crispy was supposed to come Saturday, but we had that credit card crash and Microsoft crash thing or whatever, the Microsoft cloud went
everybody
down or
had a whole bunch of stuff,
And the airline, a lot of the airlines uses all that. The whole systems went down, and the Crispy guy's flight got canceled. He couldn't get here. So that was a little fiasco to boot on top of everything else. But, I mean, really considering things, everything went really well. And like I said, everybody sure seemed like they were really happy with what they got. And it was a great experience overall, and I'm glad we did it, and I look forward to doing it again.
Yeah, and just I've been to some of those smaller camps in the past, and it always drew a really good, great group of people. Mm-hmm. It's kind of same thing, hey? I'm sure.
Yeah. I think at the end of it, when we finally sat back down at
people that want to learn, right?
Yeah, Sunday, and I think it was about 3 when we were done, and they were just in like a final discussion in the shop. And it fortunately hadn't gotten that hot yet in the shop. I don't know how. It should have been way hotter. We were in there the next day processing orders. It was way freaking hotter in there. What did Dan say? He said, "Hey, just want to point out, amazing people and not one douchebag. There's always one. We didn't have one in that group.
That's cool.
Like there's always one quirky pain in the ass dude." And, 45 people, and they were all amazing people. I had a really good time with them. I hope they had a good time. I like to joke around, play around, and whatnot. But yeah, by day 3, I felt like I'd really reached my groove through what I was trying to do. And now going back and doing it again, I think it would go even smoother. Even though honestly, I thought it went really smooth considering how much we were covering in a short period of time and how much work we were doing.
Yeah, you're sneaking away pretty quick, right? Like you're not so far from your first hunt of the year.
I got to go back and check our group chat on when we're going antelope hunting. I'll be hunting bears in Washington here.
Is that AUG 1?
Not this weekend, but next weekend is the season's open. The inaugural bear slaughter. If they're still hanging around, there's sometime between now and September, they freaking disappear for 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
It's like when the fruit hits just right, wherever they're at, they go somewhere else. They don't hang around on my mountain. But yeah, that'll be my first one. Then my second one is the antelope hunt. And I don't recall if that's at the end of August or that's early September. I really got to check because my last grandma just passed away a week ago. Yeah, right about a week ago, just under. Yeah. And her funeral's the last Sunday in August, so I got to make sure I'm not conflicted on dates there for when we go on our Idaho antelope hunting trip. And then I've got a Washington elk tag and Idaho elk tag. I haven't picked up my Idaho elk tag. I bought my non-resident Washington elk tag already. I haven't picked it up yet either, so I could audible and pick west side if I wanted to, which I don't expect to do.
Yeah.
But I need to. Been shooting at least once a week with my cousin over at his house on the long distance stuff, and we need to sit down and talk and say, hey, do you really want to hunt up here again, or do you want to go somewhere else? Because I have your flexibility because I'm a resident of Idaho now. So,
which is sweet.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, you have more options and opportunities for sure, and I'm very grateful for that.
When you're a resident, you're not narrowed into the region, right?
Right. The tags are different, and you don't have to there's not an issued number. Certain areas there are, but you can go down and get one. Period. So I have the flexibility to hunt in different places that I really wouldn't as a non-resident. So, and ironically, Washington's non-resident is, I think it's the same as resident as far
That's how it usually is.
As far as you just pick a left side or right side, take a pick, and I'll pick right side. I own property up there, so. I just my question, I was waiting to hear on a couple of possibilities of an additional hunt in September. And if I managed to get it, I was going to contemplate whether or not I just bought a muzzleloader or picked up a muzzleloader tag instead of an archery tag, because you can still hunt with a bow in muzzleloader or in rifle in Washington. And I want to say the season for muzzleloader up in the unit that I hunt in is better than the season for rifle.
Yeah, typically our muzzleloader dates are pretty good. It's a short season, but yeah, you could get some bugling. Yeah. You could get some Beller and Bulls in that time frame.
I know, but I still look at it and go, the number of days that I get, because there's an early season and a late season for archery where I hunt. So you get,
and you shot your bull late season last year.
I shot my bull late season last year. I've seen a couple of bulls this year already, and they're still growing. It'd be hard to give up the early unless something comes up to where I can't get up there in early. But even the late is a pretty good hunt. I mean, it's 20 days. Or no, it's not 20. It's like 14.
Yeah, like mirrors are whitetail season, right? Like
it's like the same as whitetail, but whitetail runs longer.
Yeah.
But so I can technically be hunting for deer or elk at the same time, which is good. And I would be losing that if I did the muzzy. But that time when that muzzleloader season is freaking good.
It's pretty sweet.
It really is. It's hard to argue with.
Yeah. Did you see Elite announced that they're going to have a new bow come out on 8/1?
Can you see the box behind you in the shot? Like, turn around. You can't quite see it, can you?
Not quite.
The tripods. I have it.
Yeah.
I have it.
It's a hunting bow or target bow?
I can't talk about it.
Oh, okay.
Because it's still come out before then. I can't talk about it.
Well, just talk a little bit, because I'm going to go take a peek behind the camera.
I honestly, I haven't been told what I can talk about it. So they're coming out with a new bow. They're coming out with a new bow. What do you want me to say? Yeah, don't get that. Don't let it. You can't have the angle shown that the name's on that box. So.
I can see the axle.
Yeah. Shh. God, you're snoopy.
But this could be.
I was just gonna tease the fact that there was a box there. That's it.
Okay.
That was all I was doing.
Well, today's the 24th.
So I've got that. I've got that to test and release at a certain date. There's
But we could say you might be a fan of the 8A.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good bow.
Yeah.
But we'll see. There's going to be some new arrows out that come out at a similar time, if I remember right. That I got
we need to talk about that, because
it's not.
We can't talk about it publicly.
It's not publicly
or whatever.
Yeah, it's not publicly, but
because I'm not even sure if we're talking. I think we're talking about the same arrow.
I'm sure we're talking about the same arrow. I only know of one. So if you know of one, there's only one.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, it's someone that you talk to and communicate with once in a while. So I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And it's
Is a bow dropping?
At first, I was just like, "What?" with that one.
Yeah.
But then I talked to him and, okay, maybe.
You think
I guess maybe this is going somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I would observe that, like, a general trend is, you can basically just print a piece of carbon and put your name on it, and it doesn't. So it's easy. Of all the things you could put your name on, like, it's an easy thing to put your name on. So my question is it like another chunk of carbon, or is it going to be innovative?
I would say it's relatively innovative. I would say that they're listening to the majority of the information in the industry and following it.
That's cool.
I would say that. Yeah. I think that's about all I could probably say.
Good.
And not be disclosing stuff that you're not supposed to talk about.
Yeah, well, we don't want no leaks. Yeah,
no leaks.
This is not a leaky podcast.
You'd love a fucking leak.
No, I don't need to leak.
Yeah. Let's get Josh in trouble and spill the beans. Yeah. Drama. Somebody's mad again. Here we go.
Yeah.
No, that one I'm interested to play with, though. I really am.
Good. Is August 1st a new bow coming out? That's uncommon. That's a little forward, typically, right?
Yeah. It's really odd. However, I can say this.
I think it's kind of smart, honestly.
Well. Now I cannot verify or deny if this bow is a hunting bow or a target bow.
Right.
But Hoyt and Matthews both released target bows in August and September last year. Mm-hmm. So it would make sense if it was a target bow to release it now. Mm-hmm. Like my perfect world, if I ran a bow company, which I don't want to, it sounds terrible, but I would launch my target stuff in August like 1st of August, and I would launch my hunting stuff like 1st of October, which I know everybody back east that owns bow shops can be furious with me saying that, but I really think that's the right time to do it, and release your ability to drop the price on stuff, a month or two before that. But yeah, target bows should be out, should be available, should be seen, and should be tested before December. And if you don't launch them by August, hey, what are you doing? Chloe, get out of there.
She's just being weird. She got something down there.
Yeah, she's got something down that she likes the smell of or something or other, you stinker. If you don't have the bows released by August, if you ever pay attention to lead times with target bows, they're 6 to 8 weeks. It means 2 months. So you've got all of August, all of September. So maybe your target bow, if you ordered it right out of the get-go, shows up in October. And then you've got 60 days till you actually have to score with it when it matters. I think that is the right time to do it. And you push it back into September to October, they still manage to not be able to fulfill orders for people who are trying to shoot in leagues and things like that, or tournaments, because indoor season really starts December 1st, depending on where you're at. Certain places start earlier, certain places start a little later. But in general, that's when people are wanting to have a new bow is for the beginning of their season, right? So why aren't you releasing it earlier? And then hunting bows ideally would reach the market in October. So if you wanted to buy somebody one for Christmas, if you were paying attention in October, you could order one and they'd get it before Christmas. So that's where I lead with that one personally. That's my mental of why I would launch them when. Because after that, I mean, like if it's a popular bow, within a week you won't get one before Christmas because they're just getting back ordered really fast. And frequently when they release bows, they're not really actually ready to ship bows. Most of them. Some of them are. And some of them have like pre-orders.
It would be nice if they coordinated that.
Yeah, I mean, well, they used to way back when, and the trade show used to be relevant because they would wait till the trade show to release product. And I don't know, I'm sure it's the internet and the social media day and age here that killed that to where it's, well, we can just release it to the public. They're all watching us anyway. We don't need to go to this venue to show them to dealers and whatnot and make these big announcements. So that kind of crushed it, unfortunately. But I miss those days. I really do, because it was like Christmas for archery, and you got all the presents were under the tree, and you couldn't open them till Christmas Day, and then you walk in there and they're released, and there's a big announcement at this time at this booth, and a big announcement at this time at this booth, and it was an event, and I don't know where that went wrong. I wish that all bow manufacturers would coordinate it. I take that back. I'm kind of glad they don't, because I'd never get all my videos done in time, because most of them only give you a couple of days ahead of time to send you the bow. If they all sent me their bows and they had to be out on the same day at the same time, I'd go crazy.
My crystal ball says they're going to get better at that.
Yeah, that'd be nice. But, for every time some dipshit that got sent one of those early leaks it, that crushes that. And there's been multiple times where relatively well-known people in the industry have leaked a product early.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you remember the triple stack, Cam Haynes put that out a month and a half before they intended to put it out. Whether it was on purpose or on accident, who knows? But, there's been a couple other places that released archery bow company stuff a day early or 2 days early and had to try to pull it down and kind of ruined it.
Which on the company side of things, I can understand. Like, hey, we have an embargo date. We don't want to release it. But
well, the company wants to be the first one to say it.
Yeah.
So their website gets the views, they get the clicks.
On the marketing hype side of things, like, I don't know that there's ever been a leak that hasn't been like a net positive for the hype. You know what I mean? It builds hype. It builds anticipation.
I understand you say that, and honestly, I'll give you that great example, that triple stack. So CBE came out with a pin system very similar to that shortly after that, and by releasing that a month and a half before they were ready to even produce one, that was a month and a half of sales that they lost because CBE had a little view into, oh crap, let's make that. We got a month and a half start. So you're not thinking about the competition side of it. You're just thinking about the hype. And hype will only get you so far. At the end of the day, these guys need to sell products.
You still got to have product, yeah.
You got to have product. And then when you're a company like Spot Hog that has a tendency to ship late and struggle to fill orders on new products, that's what happened with the triple stack, and that's what's happening with the Boonie. I just got my first 50 Boonies after everybody got like 5, right? Like 2 days ago.
Did you do
it's late July. We were supposed to be getting big orders in like May or June.
Did you do like a pre-order for boonies?
I ordered like 500 or 1,000.
I mean, like on the website. Are those 50 already spoken for?
Yeah. Yes, they are. They are in those. So everyone that we received that we could fill, we filled. They actually contacted us ahead and say, hey, we're going to allocate you 50. You can pick them. And we went through and submitted every order we had and said, here, give me these. So I got to go back and check, but I think every order got filled. So if you pre-ordered a boonie, you probably getting it by the time this video comes out, because we sent them all priority mail.
That's cool.
It'll only take like 2 or 3 days.
It'd be nice to have some boonies hitting the wild. I've just heard about them, you know?
Yeah, well, and it's late July. Like, how close to hunting season are you going to get? Like, I've got to grab one of my bows that I'm still trying to determine which bow I want to hunt with for elk, which is that, you know, the breakdown of those. But one of those I think I want to use as my tree stand bow, and I ain't even sighted it in yet. And I need to have that bow ready next week. So I got to shoot it this weekend, which is part of why I'm staying home this weekend and not going to the property. So I got to shoot it, got to sight it in, got to put tape for it, got to put broadheads through it. I'm pretty confident it'll go smoothly. And I've got one other bow that I've shot a lot that I'm switching over, but it's still not quite sighted, and I haven't shot a broadhead out of that yet. But I got a month till I really have to use that. And I'm going to put that and the other 4 against it and try to figure out which one I like better.
Have you decided on hunting with offset bracket versus a 2-bar system?
I have an offset bar bracket on every bow I'm testing.
Yeah.
I think I'm stuck on that. And I'll be the first one to acknowledge that a 2-bar system is more stable.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But the type of hunting I do a lot, 2 bars is a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
Like getting in and out of a rig, getting in and out of an expedition that I use all the time. It's a pain. Put it in and out of a case. Like, you're taking crap on and off and multiple things, and it takes time, and it's frustrating. It's steadier. It absolutely is, but it's not that much steadier.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not more balanced. It's just because the weight's farther away from your hand, you feel a little bit more stable. So I'm whatever bow I end up using for antelope, I might put a sidebar on it, because I'll tend to end up shooting a little farther away with that bow, and that would help. But I've been shooting out to 200 with offset bar,
mm-hmm.
a pretty long one. I think my stabilizer is 15 inches, maybe longer, and just one back weight on it, but just a weight, not a bar. And I haven't missed a target yet at 200 yards. So, and it's a 4-foot target, so it's not saying that's big. It's like huge, but it's 200 yards.
It's still 200
it looks
yards,
really small out there when you're shooting at it. Yeah. And honestly, I'm not sure if that's real analytical, sciencey stuff, or my cousin and I just really like fucking around with it. It's fun. It's just so fun shooting a long ways away. Unfortunately, he's got enough space that we can do it safely. And he actually, I gave him another target like a month and a half ago. I said, hey, I'll give you another one of these if you go put it out 200 yards and mow it. Because he mows out his field, and there's
mm-hmm.
walkways, and we'll drive a 4-wheeler over there and pick up the stuff and come back. And so now there's 2 lanes now, and one of them's 200 and one of them's 150. And we can stand right inside the front door of his garage and shoot those. So if it's rainy, windy, whatever, you're pretty protected from the wind being on you, but you still have the wind out there to deal
mm-hmm.
with, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sold on an offset bar for a tree stand bow.
For sure. That's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah. Likely.
It's just simplistic.
Likely an offset bar, period, unless I really wanted to stretch one out. Like, yeah, my only consideration would probably be for like a pronghorn hunt. You know, or maybe if you had an open country elk hunt where you might stretch out a shot a little further.
Yeah.
Maybe back bar then, but yeah, I think I'd be offset bar pretty much for hunting. Yeah. I don't want to say exclusively, but pretty close.
Yeah, like I said, every bow I built has that and not a V-bar on it. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if I'll go back to putting a V-bar on one or not, but as I stand right now, they seem to be holding well. They seem to be balanced well. I'll say again, it is not quite as steady as with a V-bar, but
mm-hmm.
it's a lot simpler, and it's a lot less crap to deal with. So there is that.
Yeah, simple's good, especially if you're, beating on your gear, beating on your equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, less that can go wrong is good.
Heck yeah.
And being able to strap it to a pack or throw it in your rig or whatever, yeah, that's largely why I think it just streamlines the system.
Yeah, when I strap it to my pack and jump on a bike or whatnot, it's much nicer. And if you do got to take it off, it's only one. It's not 2. and that little built-in quick disconnect stud in the newer ones I made, it's just out.
Yep.
Spin it on, throw it in your pack. Don't even have a stabilizer on there if you need to, depending on how low profile you need to be. It's pretty cool, man. I really like it.
Have you decided on any hunts this fall that you're going to consider filming?
I might. I'm leaning towards it. I still am uncomfortable. I just am. Like I don't want to turn it into work so much, and it's people be like, it's work. You're filming a hunt. I'm like, well, yeah, but every day that you film, right? If you're cutting footage and filming critters and whatnot, there's a whole half hour to an hour's worth of work that you're going to do. As soon as you get back, you're going to dump your cards. You're going to make sure everything loaded up and went okay. You're going to format your cards, put them back in your cameras, put your batteries on chargers, etc. I need a whole bunch more electricity, and most of the places I'm hunting, I don't have electricity. It's not just simple to do it. That being said, if I'm ground blind hunting or tree stand hunting, I'm probably gonna. Between the camcorder that I bought that does a great job, and I have 3 DSLRs.
Oh yeah, you got a good little fleet of stuff.
I've got a fleet of goodies, man. And I will say this: the camcorder, I'll at least take the camcorder and do some stuff. If it doesn't turn out and I never show it, so be it. But that camcorder runs forever, like forever. Yeah. Oh my God! Like that battery, I ran that thing at every target we shot at TAC on like constantly, and it didn't even use half the battery.
And it never overheated, right?
And it never overheated.
Yeah.
I went to I did with Dan's the other TAC. I was talking about our San Antonio, but went to the other one with Dan on Big Sky, and I filmed arrow impact on everything we went on, and I never changed the battery. It and zoomed in tight and just hit record and walk away, and not starting and stopping, and just constantly running. And everything we did was 6 hours. Like to get through one course each time, right? Which is like, oh my God, it's painful. But you're trying to record so much stuff. I get it. But it ran a lot, and it didn't have a problem. So it didn't have a problem. I didn't have to change the battery. So that one I would consider, because I think I have 3 batteries for that. I think I could probably go on a week-long hunt and never plug it in. And as long as I had big enough memory cards, I don't need to dump them, because I'm not sharing. Okay. I'm not taking this memory card into that one or that one or that one, right?
You'd be okay, yeah.
Yeah, because that one won't take the super bougie cards that are really expensive. So I should find out how big a memory card it will take, and then just buy some mid-grade ones that work on that.
Yeah, and that's not.
I could probably record 10, 12 hours.
Yeah, it's not shooting super high, like bit rate, high megabyte footage either. So it's you can get quite a bit of footage on there.
Maybe that and a drone and an action cam possibly, and that's about it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, and I wouldn't. That wouldn't be brutal to carry. It's not that much, and I got that super fancy microphone on it too. So I mean, it should turn out pretty good if I do it. So I'm leaning towards that. Outside of that, I don't know.
Yeah, we could definitely talk about it on here sometime if people want to hear about it. Like maybe an intro to filming those kind of things.
Sure. Well, we should probably do it before hunting season, because I might need an intro to it.
Yeah,
I've never actually tried to film a hunt.
We could break it down. There's always like a small group of people that'll ask for that kind of thing. But if we get a good demand, we can dig into it a little further. But basically, if you just wanted to get started, you can actually you could film a hunt that you're proud of with an iPhone. Like you really could.
Yeah.
You could. Because on a hunt, you need 2 functions that you serve. You need a wide camera to capture things that are, scenery, talking heads, that kind of thing, and then a tight camera for wildlife. And that's why your camcorder can do both. An iPhone can do both for the most part. Like you could capture wildlife pretty well, maybe out to like 75 yards.
Yeah.
And an iPhone gets decent audio, and you could totally film something that you're proud of on an iPhone, and it's just right here in your pocket. So I would totally encourage people to do that if they wanted to do something at the intro level. And then beyond that, it just gets more technical. And the hard thing about filming those things is like, if you haven't done it, you're not sure what you should film, and that can be really time consuming. And you end up shooting a lot more stuff than you think you just shoot a lot of stuff because you don't know. You're like, I need this, I need that, I need.
Right.
Yeah. So. Yeah, but I'd be happy to dig into that if people want to hear about it. So, Yeah.
I think that would be helpful, and I'd love to listen to that conversation and pretend to be a part of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't finish with what I was my hunting, so we got distracted. I'm going to Texas twice.
Oh, twice
For deer. Well, I got invited to go to the place that Dan goes because I met the people and talked to them and helped them and whatnot, and they invited me. So
that's like a big buck ranch, right?
Yeah, and it's private. I don't know too many details, but I was like, yeah, sure, I'll go. Happy with that.
Yeah, well, I've seen the deer. There is definitely big deer potential.
Yeah, but there's like rules like you can't shoot this deer, you can't shoot that deer kind of thing. One of them's with my Stone Glacier rep, Crispy rep, that he goes on like 10 hunts a year, and I say, hey, you ever get a good deal on something? I think it's just a management buck thing. I'm ready to start going hunting. So, and he's like, I like traveling. It's time. I've put it off for a long time because I've been so frugal and like, I can't justify this. I can't justify that. And I'm like 46. My kids are adults. Business is doing good. It's time to go have some fun. And I'm finally to the point, and I can't thank my employees enough for this. I'm finally to the point that I show up to work and then there's from being gone a week and it's not a disaster. It's not there's like 15 fires to put out and that sort of thing. And we're just setting up the automated ordering for manufacturers on our website. So I'm going to be to the point that I don't have to know. It should be keeping track of it.
Yeah, that's a very good
orders.
sign. If you can leave it alone, systems don't fail.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. But my hope is by the time hunting season rolls around, that's all fully implemented and I can stop doing all the ordering. Because that's largely why I work on Mondays, because I see the products flowing. I see like be sitting there going through orders and be like, why didn't we sell any of these? And I can go back and look and go, oh, well, it shows we're out of stock. And I didn't get a notification for anybody that we're getting low, that kind of thing. And that's part of why I do it. So if that's taking care of itself, then I don't really need to be there on Mondays anymore. So then I don't have a day where I'm required to be there, period. So if I'm not there that week, somebody else doesn't have to jump up and fill in my shoes that I was doing that day. So I'm really excited about it. And I may or may not do Mexico really late with my buddy Ray. We'll see for a mule deer.
Mexico
or a Sonora mule deer.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll dictate on, how all the other stuff goes and if there's still an opening with him or not. So I've always I like hunting mule deer. I've always wanted to kill a big mule deer. I never have.
Yeah.
And they got big muleys down there.
I wonder how their body sizes are. Because, traditionally the further south you go, the smaller the bodies get. I wonder if the mule deer mirror that.
It could be. They sure look like they got freaking big bodies.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They're a neat animal, though, and I haven't shot a mule deer in a while. Although, consequently, I've had 2 different mule deer bucks show up on camera recently at my property. Because I'm right on the elevation line, and there's muleys up there where I'd see muleys and where I'd see whitetail. And I've seen muleys up there before, but it's usually this time of year. And by the time it rolls around to September, they're not there still.
Sneaking their way up higher a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what's going on. So we'll see. Maybe one will hang around long enough that I can put an arrow in him. We'll see.
Wow. Well, it's going to be a great year. We have a lot more to share. Particularly on the hunting side of things, as it comes. But for today, fire's out. So
tune into the next podcast where I can talk about that bow that I'm not allowed to talk about. Because I'm pretty sure that comes out after the first.
Yeah, and we had really good response on our Q&A, so we're going to do a follow-up.
Let's do that again.
We'll do that again. Strong response. Glad you all liked it. And, appreciate you all. I think I would actually like to maybe figure out how we could do this live. There would be a challenge to it.
Yeah.
As to how we would get it streamed. Particularly, I think, running the audio through the good audio. But, it might be cool to plan a live event in the future. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be a good way to interact with people. And
does our device here plug directly into a computer and use this audio going out?
I think this actually has a Wi-Fi connection that we can get connected to the Wi-Fi. And then we would have to figure out how to get this to talk with the camera that was also live.
I think one of those ports right there in the back that's got the USB-C on there probably plugs right into a computer. And I bet you it would allow the audio to flow through that. But and then that will plug directly into a computer too. I bet you can do it. You're a smart, clever guy. Figure it out.
Yeah, we can figure it out.
You are the camera expert, sir, and the audio genius.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to sign off today. Appreciate y'all. Subscribe wherever you're listening. Leave it a review. That stuff truly does help. Y'all are awesome. I think we've got over 400 reviews in the hopper on Spotify, and that means a lot. So pretty cool to watch this little bird fly the nest, or whatever you want to call it.
little baby bird growing.
A little baby bird is flapping wings somewhere. So, yeah.
Peace out.